We discussed emotions around disclosure and chatted through a few hot topics with our guests. Now we want to debunk popular myths and dating and about dating and HIV.
Ooh.
See there. About dating and HIV. To fact check us, we have Dr. Daniel Driffin, who works at the HIV Vaccine Trials Network. Daniel, this is what you get for not being in the back room. This is what you get for not being in the back room. You wanted to take your ass to Harlem, and this is what you missed. Daniel is barely surviving up there in that hotel room. Okay, so we have some statements that came from the DMs, and we want you to tell us if the statements are fact or fiction. This is a kind of a remix on Sassy or Tragedy, but this is fact or fiction. So, Daniel, before we get there, tell us what do you do in short form? Remember, I got a button here. So, what do you do at the HIV Vaccine Trials Network?
Hey everyone. So at the HIV Vaccine Trials Network, I am a project manager within the External Relations Division. So really, we are allowed to interface with community to just spread the word on the work that we do as we develop a preventative vaccine. You see, I'm really trying not to use any big words,
Because
okay?
I got a button, like my finger is on the trigger.
It's so hard. Uh, both reasons. But anyway, we developed.
Since you got your
Wow.
degree and you know every
We
fucking
went from
thing.
swallow to just hard.
I told you, I got my finger on the trigger, and you can jazz it up by being one of the girls, but I know you for your very DRPH work.
So we are the largest company as we develop a vaccine to prevent HIV for all populations.
Okay. I think that so shout out to you because I have recently switched to injectable PrEP, and the idea that I'm able to prevent HIV and not take a pill every day was life-changing for me. Absolutely life-changing. So the idea that the HIV Vaccine Trials Network is attempting to take that one step further and make it to where it's not a injectable every couple months. It could be an injectable once ever.
Every 6 months.
Every
Or
6 months or every year. Like the closer we can get to that. Now I will tell you that a little bit about my story. So I got on PrEP, daily med PrEP, with a lot of people who were living with HIV. And a lot of my friends are living with HIV, and so we kept each other accountable about taking our meds. And so all of my friends that are in my accountability circle switched to injectable HIV meds. And so I ended up missing all kind of doses of my PrEP because now I ain't got nobody asking me about taking pills every day because they ain't taking pills every day. And so the idea, and what that enlightened for me is the idea that all of us are connected by a common experience, whether that is taking pills or not, and you have a choice to do that yourself. I think that is probably the most remarkable aspect of the HIV Vaccine Trials Network is that you really are trying to level the playing field for all people affected by HIV, whether you're living with it or not.
And yes, absolutely. I think even larger, like that's the testament to the HIV movement. Truly to be able to say we know folks living with HIV who took medication 3, 4, 5 times a day to going to one pill a day to now going to 2 shots every other month and hopefully maybe a shot every 6 months or even a shot every year or a pill once a year. It just speaks volumes to the advancements that we've achieved in this field.
I'm really excited about that. Okay, so we got a couple statements, and they're going to keep me on time. So we got a couple statements that have come through in the DMs. These are all messages from people who follow Dear Black Gay Men, and we want you to tell us if they are fact or fiction. Okay? This says I am in a monogamous relationship. I don't have to worry about HIV. Fact or fiction?
Fiction.
Why do you say fiction?
So regardless of your relationship status, your HIV status is it is a intimate conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So whether or not you are testing frequently, if you are on prep, it should really be an individual conversation. You should not let your partner dictate your perception or comfortability with your status.
Okay, I'm here for that. The
They
next
want
one,
to check.
I didn't want to push the button. I really was gonna push the button, but I'm literally asking you to be educated here, so I'm like, Okay, the next one says, is it safe to have condomless sex when you are undetectable? Fact or fiction?
So this was one of them sassy ones. I said sassy, 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 because again, like beyond
That's true.
I
sassy,
had the
yeah.
wrong one up. I meant to say sassy the whole time. Willie says sassy. We all say sassy.
Oh, I
But go
still say
ahead.
sassy.
So beyond a shadow of a doubt, we know that once a person becomes undetectable and maintain their undetectable status, they will not transmit HIV sexually. Okay. So again, get on meds, take meds, achieve undetectable, like, and have the best sex you can
The
have.
best.
Get your
The
socks
best.
knocked off.
Get your socks
Get
knocked
your
off
socks
like
knocked
Titan
off.
had. Okay, now this one, they wanted me to hurry up through these so I could ask you this particular question because I got my button ready. I know you got your response in the trigger in the barrel. It says HIV drugs are poison and will destroy your body. Fact or fiction?
I'm gonna say fiction, friend.
I I,
I'm a,
I know, but go
um,
ahead.
again, when we look at antiretroviral therapy or the specific class that HIV sits in, beyond a shadow of a doubt, heart art works. Okay, when we look at
Tell the people what heart and art mean before I hit the button.
HAART is highly active antiretroviral therapy, so HAART.
Got it.
Okay, ART is antiretroviral therapy, ART, or you can see it as ARV, antiretrovirals. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
but again, when we look at that class of medication, they do what they're supposed to do 9 times out of 10. Okay, again, if you take it as prescribed, one should be undetectable. Okay, and even if, one of the things that we've really been looking at recently, even if you're not undetectable, we do not see the virus being transmitted under 1,000 copies. Okay.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Undetectable would mean under how many copies?
so
What is undetectable?
great question. So the United States Department of Health and Human Services, US.
You thought I was gonna hit the other button, didn't you? Go ahead. The United States Department of Health and Human Services. Go ahead.
So we define viral suppression or undetectable under 200 copies of HIV per milliliter of blood. Okay. So this may differ from the doctor office that you are being seen, that you receive treatment at. Okay. Sometimes doctor office can go as low as 20 copies per milliliter of blood. Okay. But basically, again, if you are under 200 copies of HIV in a milliliter of blood, like, zero worries. Okay. That's the U equals U messages. That's the
Okay.
undetectable, untransmittable.
Okay. So the last question is that came in from the chat. It says dating DL men puts you at higher risk of infection.
Uh, so, I was actually looking through my pictures the other night,
I'll
and I found
expand. I'll expand. DL trade, all that.
Come on, pictures.
I love this show. I love this show. This show is amazing. This show is unbelievable.
I'm just gonna go in the bushes and weep.
Can I take a sip real quick?
Dating DL men will put you at higher risk of infection.
So I don't think we have any scientific.
Since you got your degree, and you know every fucking thing.
I think that's doctor's answer. Since you got your the second I say I don't know, you were about to say data. You were about to say data on that one. Okay.
Data informs many of my conversations. So
Yes.
I don't know if we have any data on DL men opens you up to infections. However, I would definitely say, one could worry about more things. Not even like not even like my blouse, not even like
Come on, Blouse. Get that top button.
I love it. And I love the voice of Titan chiming in like Jesus. Hitting the high notes.
not even like acquiring sexually transmitted infections or anything. But I think, we have to look at like anxiety, mental health capacities.
Yes.
I just think of like the Jasmine Sullivan song "Hurt Me So Good," like hate that I need you, like it's just a lot. So
I thought
think
you
we
was gonna
should
type
be
put me hood feelings.
Can I say one other thing, friend?
Yes.
We were talking about the DoxyPEP earlier, and someone in the chat, Miss Eve, said my doctor warned me of Doxy. They not to be taken daily. It will lead to resistance. So I want to say this. So, DoxyPEP, post-exposure prophylaxis, is a strategy to reduce your likelihood of acquiring sexually transmitted infections, specifically gonorrhea, chlamydia, and syphilis. Okay, many of the studies that we look at truly talks about DoxyPEP from the standpoint of cisgender born men. Okay, and not necessarily at birth females. Okay,
I just want to let you know I'm hovering over my button, friend.
I know.
You tension into 5-syllable language lane.
I'm reading it right. But I would just say again, like DoxyPEP is an additional option to reduce, your STI acquisition rate. Okay. Again, all of these conversations should be had with your primary care physician, but these are options out there again to reduce the likelihood of acquisition. That's all I wanted to say.
Okay.
I agree.
I didn't hit the button on that one. I'm very, very proud of you, Dr. Daniel Driffin. Y'all give Dr. Daniel Driffin a round of applause. All right, we will be right back.